We are officially live. I am gonna pop out if someone can see people in the waiting room, can anybody see that? Like if you're in there, can you see if people are in the waiting room? Does it let you?
I think it only lets you see people in the waiting room.
Just me.
I think if you click participants, it pulls it out as like a separate screen, but I don't know if you have room for that on your screen.
We see what you mean. Oh well, I'll just hop out every once in a while and make sure there's nobody in there. Either way, they're gonna catch it live, the recording of it. Okay, well, welcome to New Year. Are you ready? I don't know about you, but I have been so gun shy about saying anything about New Year's 2021. And it's funny as memories are popping up in your Facebook and on your, in Instagram and your stories, and everything is about a New Year is upon us. Actually, I read this thing this morning and it was so funny to me. It's not funny, but it was. In 2020, Valentine's Day is a Friday, Cinco de Mayo is on a Tuesday, 4th of July is Saturday, Halloween is Saturday, Christmas is Friday, and the New Year begins with a 3-day weekend. Thank you, leap year. And I just thought that was so, really at the end, it should be like, and this year is going to be nothing like you ever imagined it would be. And it's going to change your life. I know for me, it absolutely did. But it did a couple of things that I have to keep in mind, and it showed me it was very eye-opening in areas of my life that I was lacking in. I think it gave me time to see the things that needed more of my attention. I think that it was very opportunistic to see where and what I actually want to do with my life, because it was so stagnant and so hard that it was Sure. That it was so challenging to do anything that it reminded you of what was important. And I am definitely somebody who goes into a year and I like to set goals, and I'm going to start this business, or I'm going to hit this rank, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to do this. And I've literally ended the year at very far from a lot of the places that I thought I would be. But it also reminded me that, and if you've been following me for quite some time, I run a business called Organized Chaos that hasn't really done much because 2020 pulled me in a direction of being a lot more intentional with my family. But it will resurface here soon. But one of the things that I have found is that we have to learn that we need to control the things that we can, so that when the unexpected happens, 2021, that we are more prepared to handle that. And so what I mean by that for me personally is I need to focus on the things that are most important, are the areas that do require my attention, are the things that doesn't matter if the world literally falls apart and we end up in lockdown, or we end up having to flee the country, or we end up with a whatever. It doesn't matter. None of those things matter, because I'm going to strictly focus on the things that I can control. So let me kind of move in and kind of get started on how we are going to focus on those things, because I think a lot of us say like, oh yeah, I really want to focus on my marriage, or I really want to focus on my kids or my business or my health or whatever. But unless we have tangible plans, or we have ways to ensure that we do so, we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants, and 2022 is going to be here before we know it. And I know for me, I'm not doing that anymore. I lost a year in a lot of ways. I lived in the woe is me. This is really sad. Everything is so hard. How am I? What did I do to deserve X, Y, and Z? And as I've kind of rounded out the year and kind of come out of the depressive fog, I find that I feel more in control. I feel happier, and I feel more content by the things that are the most important. So let's kick it off. If you are a client of mine and are in my health and fitness world, you know that the why to anything that you do has to be. If you guys can just mute yourself as you come on, just so in case you have some background noise. I can't promise that I won't have a kid run in, but I should be good. If you don't have a why that drives you out of feelings, out of any outstanding circumstances, you will constantly find constantly find yourself going back to the beginning, back to that Monday, back to the, oh, I'm going to start this then. I'm going to do that then. I'm going to pay more attention to my kids when we're on spring break. I'm going to be a better wife when my husband doesn't work so much. I'm going to be a better wife when I lose all this weight. I'm going to be all of these things when. That can't be a driving factor in your life. If your why isn't the heartbeat behind everything that you do, you will constantly find yourself in a state of going backwards. And I'm not going backwards anymore. I feel like backwards is it doesn't do you any good. And you look back at the year and it's like, man, what did I even accomplish? And actually, as I was squatting this morning, this is so random, I was doing this front loaded squat and I was kind of compiling a list this morning of all the things that kind of did go right in 2020, things that were right. Because if we can't find the joy or the good or the whatever, then we're going to look back at 2020 as complete and utter failure. And as I was squatting, I thought to myself, I've never in my whole life squatted this deep ever. I'm counting that as a win. I can do a squat lower than I've ever been able to do a squat in my entire life. And, that might seem silly, but it's a win. It's going to keep you moving forward and keep your eyes on what is most important. So just for me, for example, I'm going to give you a lot of my own why I like how I'm planning my year, only because I feel like it then gets you in your head how you're going to plan your year. So for me personally, I have a pretty simple why. I want to get to the end of my life knowing that I showed up at maximum capacity for the people that mattered most. And what that means is I did everything I could in my health so that I could remain healthy. Does it mean that cancer couldn't kick my ass tomorrow? No. But does it mean that I'm in the best physical shape that I physically can be? So things like a cold or a fever or a broken leg or, whatever could take me out, but they're not going to take me out forever. And I say that because how often do you hear of, oh, they broke their hip and it was just like a slow decline, or, oh, they ended up with heart disease and they, or high cholesterol or whatever. I don't want sickness to ever be something that I could have controlled and chose not to. I want my kids to see a living example of a body that was given to me by God to care for and then go into the world and be as healthy as possible. And so, that drives my health and nutrition. That drives how I am as a mom. That drives my marriage. That drives pretty much everything that I do. Is I want my legacy to be more than the things that people are supposed to say. I want to change people's life by being who I can maximum capacity be to the world. And so anytime I feel like not doing something, I remind myself of that legacy. When if I don't feel like hitting up the gym, or I don't feel like, reading my devotional, or I don't feel like being nice to my husband, or I don't feel like being nice to my kids, I think about that day. I think about the legacy that I'm leaving, because what if that's the first day that my kid remembers everything for the rest of their lives? Because I live a lot in the lines of, well, they're not going to really remember. They're so young right now, right? Because they are. But there's been a couple times in 2020 where I'm like, man, Avery's going to remember this. She's going to remember this moment. I got to do better. And it doesn't mean we're not going to have slip ups, but it absolutely means that we can keep that as the forefront of everything we do and why. Okay. So that might take you some time. I recommend, maybe it's a piece of paper and a fire or wherever you feel inspired, go and think about who you want to be at the end of your life, which I realize is very morbid. I'm kind of a morbid person in the sense that I do live in that, like, I don't want to waste my life. I want to take advantage of everything that I've been given today. And actually, it's funny. My years ago, I heard this sermon by Christine Caine, who is a huge human trafficking. She runs a huge human trafficking organization, and she was speaking at our church, and she said, I can't even kid you not, 50 times in this one sermon, make tomorrow today, make tomorrow. And she's from Australia, so that's why I say it in Australians. But anytime my husband and I say anything like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow, he'll be like, make tomorrow today. We say that all the time in this house because we aren't guaranteed tomorrow. So if we don't make tomorrow today, who knows what we, could happen. And so especially if you look back at this specific year. So make tomorrow today, take some time, think about that why. And then as when I move into the next slide here, it's going to make a lot of sense because this is where you want to sit down and create the areas of care for your life. What are the areas that you have to provide, that you want to show up for? So, myself, my own person, which, encompasses my health, my spiritual journey, my mind, my everything, my heart, all of it. My marriage, parenting, my home, and then my community. And I know for me personally, community is a driving force in a lot of what I do and a lot of what I love. And I really pour into people. And this year took that from me in a lot of ways because, well, community was sort of canceled. Really, in so many words, we weren't allowed to be together. And that changed relationships in a lot of ways. And so when you make that list, sit down and write out those specific areas that you want to care about and what area and what you want to do in those areas. So, for example, health is easy for me because it's just always what I go to. But, what's your workout plan look like? What's your meal plan look like? What, are you working out because you're searching for a number, or are you working out just to feel alive and good in your skin and energetic and ready to, conquer whatever? Parenting, what areas of parenting are you trying to make sure that you're showing up for? Are you, what kind of mom do you want to be? Marriage, what kind of wife do you want to be? What kind of marriage do you want to have? And then, what kind of home do you want to have? Something that's always resonated with me is I've always wanted my house to just be a sanctuary, a place of peace, a place that people say that they can come in. I had a friend tell me this year, she said, your house is probably one of the only homes I know where if I just showed up, no one would question why I was there and everyone would be glad to see me. And I could sit down on your couch and it wouldn't matter what day or what time or what it was, I would be welcome there. And that spoke volumes because that's what I want to create. I want it to be, a place for my kids to bring their friends. I want it to be a place where my husband, after a long day of work, comes home and feels peaceful, feels clean, smells nice. Get real specific about those areas, and get specific about those parenting areas as well, because the more specific you are, the easier it will be to come up with a game plan. Okay. What do I have here? What's going wrong? Okay. So this is going to be you're going to have to go back a little bit, right? Like, okay, so take each of those areas and what's going wrong? I hate to say what's going wrong, but we all need to talk about the areas of our life that we're kind of sucking at, because if we don't recognize it, we're not going to change it. And that might be some real deep self-reflection. Right in this moment, for some reason, I feel like I'm feeling at all of those things, but I know that I'm not. I'm sure there are good things in all of the areas, but there's also things that I can improve on. And so take those lists and write out what's going wrong, what are areas you need to improve in, and then make the plan. And in that, we're going to talk about the plan, but be really specific. And I'm going to even challenge you one step further. Ask the person, ask a friend, ask your husband, ask your kids, ask anybody that is involved in these areas that you really want to be a good, showing up for. Then make sure that those people are, that they know, or I'm sorry, ask those people what it is that you could change or that you want more of, and it might take some tough love and it might hurt and it might make, it could even create a little bit of a fight. You never know. I feel like if I were to ask my husband that, we might get in an argument. it might not go great because he's gonna have some tough love for me, but I'm not going to grow unless I ask. So I just want to encourage you to ask the people. And then the best part is that we get to move forward. We get to make a plan and we get to make moves. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay. So this is kind of where I thrive. I'm a list thriver. I love lists. I live by them. I have an entire book dedicated for lists. And I have a list for everything. I have a list for, I have a list for each of these specific areas. So, parenting, marriage, myself, my home, my, community. And then I'm going to create a plan. So one of the first things that I like to think about when you, and we're going to break down your day, and then we're going to break down those specific areas. Okay. And if you guys have questions or anything, or I'm going too fast, I have been told that I speak very fast. It's, what I do. First, let's talk about the areas that you are making a plan for. Let me make sure that I didn't. Okay. You want to have something intentional that you are doing for those specific areas in your life every day. So, for me, I've created a list of books that I think my husband and I need to create or need to read as we go into 2021. For example, Bringing Up Girls, Bringing Up Boys, what are the other ones that I'm totally blanking on? And I have a link for all of these that we plan on reading. But having a game plan to actually read those books. So whether it's, you're going to just read a chapter a day, and you're going to get through that list of areas of concern. And as far as marriage goes, coming up with a date night, making sure whatever it is that you are trying to grow in, as you create your plan, you are going to figure out what areas you need growth in. This is just totally an idea, but there's a book called Sheet Music. I won't go into too much information about it, but it's a great book for marriage. It's really uniting. It's very, it's pretty, it's sexy, but it's going to ignite that relationship with your spouse again. So kind of figuring out, and you may have to do a little bit of research, and I will also compile a book list for each of these areas that I plan on growing in, and I will share that for you. But you don't have to just read, because a lot of people are like, I can't read. Well, you can listen to the audiobook. Podcasts are a second best for sure. But the thing is if you're always choosing to improve in those areas, you are always going to glean and grow in them. Actually, one of the books I was just thinking of, where did it go? Hold on, let me grab it. Is it right here? No, where are they? Hold on. No, of course not. Not. Okay, so one of a really good book choice for parenting is called Parent Cues, and they'll be in the list of things, but you read specific to your child's age. But it's just, they're so tangible and they're so easy. And so when you come up with that plan for that part of that you're working on, you're only going to see growth in everything. Something that I've always loved when it comes to kids is the day that they're born. Within each month is the day that I get to spend with them. So my daughter's born on the 28th. I hang out with her on the 28th of all the months. My son is on the 11th. I hang out with him on the 11th. The other one's the 30th. The other one's the 27th. Those are their days. And then obviously date night, that's something that we lack in. And it's not so much that, we don't make it a priority. It's just that we have a lot of kids and not a ton of people near us to help. But so when you're making those plans, you want to get really specific on all the things that you want to use to grow in them. So something that, I'll show her that in a minute. Okay. So let's move on to you, because I think focusing on you is hard because we put all those other things as the priority, right? So we're going to change the thought process right here and really talk about you, because you are we've all heard the airplane, put your mask on first. That's not a joke. And it's actually very important. If you don't learn to take care of yourself first and foremost, you will not be able to take care of any of those other areas. So my best suggestion is to first sit down with yourself and figure out all the areas you want to improve in, right? Like whatever those are. Here's a couple of fun things that I'm going to try to improve in this year is my face regimen. It's not that my face is bad. I just feel like I'm getting older and I got to start doing some of the things that are going to be beneficial to me long term. And so that's something I want to focus on. I want to be more, one of the areas I'd like to be, I want to take a longer time just reading the Bible and journaling versus just a fast thing in the morning. So that's something I want to do more of. I want to, obviously, I just want to improve in all those areas that I'm planning on improving. And then I just want to make sure that I'm truly eating according to my goals. And not because I'm, self-sabotaging or I'm, saying that I can't have these things, but I want to eat well. I want to feel well in my skin. And so the three areas that I think that you can best start taking care of yourself is coming up with a fantastic morning routine, a great nighttime routine, and then brain dump your month, your week, and then your day. And let me kind of go through that. So when first and foremost, when you create your morning routine, come up with the areas that you want to do, and then backtrack your alarm. And if you're someone who has the hardest time getting up, first off, go listen to Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. Second, start with 10 minutes earlier. Go do that for a week, 20 minutes earlier, do that for a week, 30 minutes earlier, do that for a week, 45, 1 hour, 2 hours, however much time you want in the morning. That, I have no reason to wake up. I literally have zero reason to wake up every day. That sounds terrible. At a specific time. There's no reason to set an alarm in my house. I have so many children, they could easily wake me up. Letting them run my day from the moment my eyes have opened is the most anxious feeling. I can't even, the idea of that it just makes me feel panicked, right? Even just saying it. And go, more power to you if that doesn't bug you. I'm a little bit more type A and I like to have a little bit more control. So knowing that I'm ahead of my game gives me all kinds of life. And I also have really nice things that set up. I have a great place to sit. I know my coffee's made. I'm having some pre-workout, some food that's delicious. I've got all my stuff ready the night before, my clothes, my Sherpa, my slippers, my blanket, my water glass. I set it all up. I don't leave anything out. And I do that literally every day of my life. And it might sound mundane and it might sound boring, but the truth is it sets me up for success every single day. And I always work from a list. So whether, that's part of your nighttime routine where you are setting up your day and you're writing everything down. I know people want to talk about planners. I'm actually having planner remorse for the first time in 4 years. I have used the Simplified Planner, and I'm going to show you just because why not? I've used this planner for 4 years. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great planner. Great planner. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. This is it. They always have pineapples, which is why I think I do love them. But they have some really rad planners out there now. They have planners that are so, they give you so many things on your specific day. And I that would be a feel good for me. That would be like a morning. I can't wait to come in and fill in my little areas. That sounds so bad that would give me that much joy, but it does. It really does. I'm a weird person like that. So I would be lying if I wasn't sort of looking back in the market and potentially going to buy a new planner. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell, what's her name? Who is she? Emily Lay. We'll see. I can't decide, but they have some now, like the Christian planner is really pretty. The prayerful planner is my favorite, but they're sold out. What was the other one that I found? I'll have to remember. Anyway, I'll share all this in the group or into the event page once I kind of find it. But I mean, there's just so many. There's so many good ones. So it really is up to you what it is that you need, want, but fight for the planner. Get the right thing. Make that morning routine something that you can't wait to get up and do. Okay, your nighttime routine. Here's a couple of, don't leave, tidy up your kitchen. It'll just give you life. When things are on the floor, it's been known to cause you stress. You use the peripheral planner. Oh, I used to use, see, I'm going to have to find this peripheral planner. Maybe they sell it somewhere else that's not sold out. Anyway, oops. So don't, make sure that you have so picking things off the floor is been known to help you, alleviate anxiety. So if you are somebody, you have a lot of kids and there's all these things, then go and, then get them in on it. Make it a game. We have a lot of times we'll do a song like, okay, everyone, here's a song. It's like a crazy long song. And we all have to clean up as much as we can, as fast as we can, but we're dancing and we're laughing. And it's a way better experience than this is what you have to do. So just create that nighttime routine and then include people with it. There's nothing wrong with that. And it will just give you, that much more. So, setting out your workout clothes, making sure your water's made with your lemon, if you're like me, setting your coffee, whatever, all the things you need to do, get it all ready to rock and roll. Because when that alarm goes off, you will set the tone knowing that everything's already prepared for you. All you have to do is jump out of bed and get after it. And you will be that much more inclined to do so because you can't wait to get there. Okay. A brain dump. So when I say brain dump, monthly, weekly, and daily, what I like to do at the end of each month is I get out my calendar and I write down everything that's happening and everything that needs to happen, holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. So I take a piece of paper and I write down, January, and I'll write like a little thing, birthdays, and I'll write down anniversaries, and I'll write down things that I want to accomplish. So, for me specifically right now, it's January. January is 31 days. I need to pack 50 boxes because I'm moving in March or in February. So I need to pack 50 boxes. So that'll go on my list. I need to sell X, Y, and Z. That'll go on my list. I need to, whatever. You put the stuff in there and away you go, because then you're going to have this for the entire month of January. Anything that pops up, you can have. And here is just my recommendation. Use a different pad for this. Create your monthly dumps. That sounds really bad. Create your monthly brain dumps in a book that you can revisit. And here is why. If you get really good at this, then you're going to put in, this was back in the day when actual new birthdays would pop up. But let's say you ended up going to someone else's birthday. You could add that to it. Let's say you decided to go on a trip, or you decided that you wanted to do something in March that you needed to plan for better in January. You could put that on there. So that way, when you go to revisit this list in December 28th, 2021 for January 2022, you're already going to be that much ahead of the game, which I love the idea that this isn't just creating your what you're going to do this year. This is creating what you're going to do in your life. And that's why it can really be very impactful. Okay. So January brain dump, away you go. All right. Now, as you head into the week on a Sunday, you make a weekly brain dump. So what I like to do, again, you could do this in a specific piece of paper, or you could do this in your regular, but here's mine this week. So I like to put like my meal plan up at the top. I like to put anything that I got going. So like gymnastics, or it's my nephew's birthday. What are we, all those things. I put, a couple little business stuff on here. And then what I do is I go hit up my monthly brain dump. And I think I look at the list and I prioritize. So I'm like, okay, well, I really probably, my dad's birthday is January 7th. So that's going to go on my weekly list. I got to get him a gift this week. You look at the list and you prioritize. I really like Valentine's Day jammies. So I'm going to want to get the Valentine's Day jammies at some point. So, getting that on the list in January. But you put on, so let's say on your January brain dump, there's like, 15 things, then and none of them are really time sensitive. If they are, then you need to make that a priority, but you can then put on each specific week 5-ish things, and that's going to get you to your you're going to make sure you accomplish all the things that you set out to do in January. And of course, if it gets moved, then you bump it to February. Hopefully you're not bumping things to February the entire year, or, bumping into the next month the entire year. If that one thing is getting bumped, I highly recommend that you look at that very carefully and figure out why you're having a hard time eating that frog. And what I mean by eating the frog is do the things you don't want to do. So if you look at your list, there's no time sensitive things, but you have like, declutter kids' clothing closets. Well, that's kind of lame. It's not like a super, actually really enjoy that, but maybe you don't. Then you want to get that on the list early. Okay. You could also include all your cleaning. So you could figure out what needs to be cleaned this week. What days am I going to do that? You could add that to your list. And that could go on your weekly list. And then of course, every night you're going to create your weekly, your daily checklist. So the reason I always have used the Emily Lay's Simplified Planner is because I like that it has a whole page to write what you need to do. I just have always liked that. And so you are going to create a list of all the things you need to do for that specific day coming from your weekly. So the same thing, if you look at your weekly and you've got 5 specific things you have to do on top of all your regular stuff, then maybe you just do one a day and then you get it, you get it done. And so obviously you want to make sure you have however you operate list wise for daily, you just put that stuff on there. And as much as I want to say, like, you might be like, really, Kim, you write that on your planner for you to do every day? Yeah. Because for me, it's an easy win. Those crosses off, especially if you're someone who that really gives you joy and maybe you're like, that's crazy, try it. Don't knock it till you try it, because the truth is we don't win a lot of things in life right now, especially if you have young kids. There's so much distraction, so much failed moments that this is a win. Me crossing something off is a win. So if you need to fight for those little wins, then do that. Nobody's going to judge you, especially not me. Okay, so that's kind of your get it on paper. Now, could you do this virtually? Absolutely. There are tons of virtual planners. I have no idea what any of them are because I really enjoy pen and paper. But if you're a pen and paper kind of person, then have at it. Okay, really fast before I move on to the next slide, I'm going to show you guys. Oops, where are you going? I'm going to show you something that should be arriving here in the mail. And okay, where'd you guys go? Here we go. Okay, let me show you this. Share screen. Oh, hang on. Because this is a new addition to my world this year. Let me blow it up a little bit here. Oops. Okay, here you go. So hang on, let me share and then we'll move on. But this is what I will be putting in our home this year. So this will be, obviously Monday, Tuesday, so you get a pad. They're huge. It's probably like this big. So they're very large. They're like this big. So Sunday night, we'll sit down as a family and we will create these things. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. How will you refresh and reset this weekend? So here's some fun ideas that we're going to do. A word of the week, which will probably be a fruit of the spirit of some nature. Our prayer list, our grateful list, anything we need for groceries, chores to do, and then our meal plan. And then I'm not too sure what reward is. Probably have to watch that from. This is from, I think it's from Our Family Plan. Hang on. think it's called, let me grab it. I just found it last night and I was like, wow, this is rad. It's called, and they have a price option where they can where you can, you can take their course, which I thought was kind of fun. It's called familyplancalendar.com is what it's called. But oh, that's fun. So her reward in the example is a family trip to coffee date or to a coffee shop. But apparently it comes with stickers and all the things. So the way I purchased it, I purchased a 40 weeks. So I'm sorry, half the year. So I'll get half the sheets. And then I imagine I have to go buy more. I won't say that it was super cheap. But I thought it was worth the penny. I thought it was worth it because I was like, wow, this is kind of nice. And I like that we're all included. And then, as the kids get bigger, they can actually see the calendar and they will know like what's actually happening in their life, which I like. I feel like that's important for kids to see like, oh, this is what, this is what's going on. Or I can, you teach them to go there and do those things. And so that's kind of the plan of attack. Okay, let me go back to here, back to our Zoom here. Oops, where'd you go? Share screen. There it is. Okay, so that's kind of the, oh goodness, it always does that. Let me do it while I'm in here. Percent, I think that's why. So that's sort of the, you coming up with your plan of attack for how you plan to organize and schedule is half the battle. My best suggestion would be to start thinking about it today, because the sooner you do that now, the better you will feel coming into Friday. Okay. I believe this is the last page here. And I talked a little bit about this, but having the growth plan, having a plan for knowing what you need to read, what you need to do, who you want to become, and making a list of those areas that you want to grow in are going to be crucial. And then every time you want to stop reading that book that you said you were going to read, you're going to remember your why. You're going to remember why you're growing. You're going to sign up for that Bible study that isn't so convenient, but you need it because you're lacking in community and you're lacking in your faith. So you're going to go to that Bible study. You're going to, if that's, because that's on your list, you're going to, once a week, figure out how you're going to, get intimate with your husband, because that's important to your marriage. And if it means that you need to, read about it or grow in it, then you're going to do that. If you're trying to get more creative with your kids or be less, less lists and more, spontaneous, then you need to make up false things so that you can be spontaneous. I'm not really great at spontaneity, but I want my kids to be. I want them to know that. So if it means that instead of doing homework sitting at the kitchen table, we do homework in a fort underneath the kitchen table, then let's do that. Even though that mess is so unnecessary, we're going to do that because it's going to create an experience and memories. You have to have the growth mindset so that you are ready to show up for your life, no matter what gets thrown your way, no matter what sickness, no matter what shutdown, no matter if you move, no matter if you lose all your friends, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the year throws at you. You have a plan because it's your life and nothing can take that from you. And that's something that we have to keep reminding ourselves. You don't have to lose out on a year because the year is stealing from you. You get to have the year because you deserve it and it's yours. And so I just really want that to hit home, because I think that this year has felt like we didn't get to choose a lot of the ways that things went down. And I think that we have to be reminded that we get to choose. We get to, put forth our best days. And So whatever that looks like for you, and I just encourage you to take the time to figure out the what, the who, the why. But don't just let this year come without you deciding how you want it to go, because that's on us. That's our choice. That's something we get to control. It doesn't matter what throws our way, because we're founded, we are grounded, and we are ready and prepared in the areas that matter most so that we can go forth and do those things. And so that's all I have for you guys today, I believe. Let me just verify real quick, because, note girl over here, but I'm pretty sure that is. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. One other thing on your monthly dump, make sure you include traditions that you want to have in your family, that you want to have in your home. So, get real specific when you're really jotting down the year. And maybe this year will be the year that I actually create my own planner, because I want a planner that has an area for a monthly brain dump right in your planner. So just be like right here, you do January, February, March, April. Does the Prayerful Planner have that? If it does, I need that. Anyway.
I think that it does have something very similar.
Of course it does. Prayerful Planner and I we're the owner of that we might be friends. We should probably be friends. But I think that would be so rad, because then you have just like, here's now granted, there's some note pages in here. I guess I could, it's got a yearly bucket list, but that's not enough. I need more. I wonder if it has a January, February, like in front of each. No, it doesn't. Anyway, that's all I have for you all today. Thank you so much for hopping on with me. I will tell you that a lot of this was for my own accountability, and so that I make sure that I do the things that I know I need to do. After getting the rug pulled out for me this year, I need to focus in on what I know is most important. And so this was really, it was yes, to help you, but it was also to help me. So I love you guys and I appreciate you. But I hope this was helpful for all of you in whatever you are, as you're heading into this new year. If you ever need any help with anything, you know where to find me. Otherwise, Happy New Year. And I'm so glad that this was helpful. Tag me on social media. I will have Organized Chaos, more to come as this year unfolds. I've been working on a website. That's where I'm really hung up. But that is to come. Other than that, that's all. Have the best day, and we'll see you on the socials. Bye.